What's up everybody, Nate here. And inflation continuing to rise in the United States is giving a lot of Americans a migraine in 2022. That's because the average price of all goods and services continues to go up at over 40-year highs. We're talking the price of gas continuing to go up. We're talking food and some other things like candy. 100 grand bar, more like it'll cost you $1,000, am I right? But in all seriousness, inflation continuing to go up at this rate is a serious problem for just about every aspect of our economy. Now, the Federal Reserve is doing what it can to try to lower inflation in 2022, but not without taking on some risks. There's a potential that we could see a recession by the end of this year or in 2023, and that has a lot of Americans understandably asking, well, is there anything I can do to combat inflation in 2022? Is there any way to actually beat it? What exactly is the secret? Well, if you've been searching for this answer for a while, look no further, because today we're going to talk about Elon Musk and his secret to beating inflation in 2022. Yes, the CEO of Tesla, one of the richest people in the world, and of course, the Doge father. But before I break this down, make sure to inflate that thumbs up button below and ring that notification bell too. That way YouTube shows my videos to way more people around the world, and I can keep making videos just like this one. So Elon Musk over the last few years has pretty much given his opinion on everything from our economy to politics, and now he's talking about inflation. Inflation is, of course, when the value of our money suddenly starts to decrease because there is way too much money in circulation. That means that the goods and services in an economy need to start going up because so many people have so much money. Obviously, that is not a really good thing because you run into some problems with people being able to afford all of those same goods and services. And you kind of have this continuous cycle of problems because now people have to make more money, so you have to pay them more, and once they have more, they can buy more, and well, you can see the problem. Now, inflation in the United States is over 8.6% as of the recent CPI report that was released for May 2022. That is an over 40-year high, and it's making everything so expensive that Americans are skipping out on traveling and on food and goods and services, and businesses are really hurting because of that. That is why we could potentially see a recession, but Elon Musk has a solution. Now, this solution from Elon Musk is something that a lot of investors have talked about and something that we have talked a lot about on this channel as well. Elon Musk basically says that the only way to beat inflation is for you to own physical things. You have to be able to call something your property, and that thing that you call property needs to be able to be something that is going to gain value over time. The two things Elon Musk specifically talks about is stocks and, of course, real estate. Now, when it comes to a stock, we talk a lot about how this is one of the best ways to beat inflation because investing in the stock market is easier now in 2022 than it pretty much ever has been in the past. So it used to be really difficult. Like my parents' generation and the generations of the past literally had to go to a broker, which was the third-party person between the stock market and you, to buy and sell stocks. It's not like that anymore. Now you literally can download a free app, connect your bank account, and you're trading stocks. Now, the reason why this is so effective in beating inflation is because as you buy more stocks, as that stock continues to gain value, well, it's most likely going to go up much faster than the inflation rate. This is all because of supply and demand, and if you buy really good companies that have really good fundamentals, Elon Musk believes that the value will continue to rise and you won't ever have to worry about inflation. Elon Musk says that you need to buy companies that you believe in. You have to buy a lot of stock in companies that make products that you really like. Don't invest in things that, for one, you don't understand, and two, they make a product that you just fundamentally disagree with. Even if you think that stock is going to make you money, well, if you don't like the company or you don't like the product, eventually other people are going to catch on to that same ideology. So when it comes to investing in a stock, Elon Musk believes that do the things that you love, invest in the things that you want to see continue to grow, and you pretty much won't ever have to worry about inflation, not only in 2022, but pretty much forever. Now, he also mentions things like real estate, specifically single-family homes, multifamily homes, farmland, and storage units. So the reason why all of those things for Elon Musk are super valuable is that people are always going to want them in 2022 and beyond. Single-family homes are basically the staple for the American economy, and there's always going to be way more demand for homes and single-family homes than there is supply in the United States. I mean, insane for a lot of different reasons. There's only so much land that you can put a home on, and of course, you can only build a home so quickly. So with all of that in mind, there's always going to be more demand than there is inventory on the market. That means with the value of homes continuing to go up, well, you are going to beat inflation. And it's important to mention here too, when we talk about beating inflation, we're talking about beating average inflation or beating what inflation is right now. I mentioned before that inflation is around 8.6%, and that is super high. But if you get an average return in the stock market or through your real estate of around 10% or more, well, then you are effectively beating inflation no matter what. And 10% seems like a really high return, but over the entire lifespan of the S&P 500, that has been the average return overall, around 10%. And real estate income can be even higher, but you have to make the right decisions here too. You can't simply just buy any old property and expect it to make you money. You need to buy a property and do your research into areas that people really want to be in, areas that are going to be up and coming, not only in 2022, but beyond. Again, that is going to be the difference between you just having money today and having a whole lot of money tomorrow. And Elon Musk believes that all of these different things are going to continue to be valuable in 2022 and beyond. That way, you're always making more money than what the inflation rate is, and you pretty much never have to worry about it. Now, I know that this can get really scary, and there are a lot of risks to investing, but there are a lot of risks to not investing as well. If you look at the stock market right now in 2022, well, things are pretty much tanking, and the real estate market is starting to come down. So a lot of people will look at that and say, well, how could you invest in that? That's obviously going down. But what you have to remember is all of these different markets go through cycles where people are buying in, there's a whole lot of money, and things are at a record high, but nothing can continue to set records forever. That's pretty much why we have records in the first place. So as those things start to come back down, that could potentially be a crash, that could potentially be a correction. We just don't really know. So as things start to come down, well, yeah, you're going to have moments where things look really bad, but eventually, at least with the stock market and the real estate market, everything has always gone back up to set new record highs over time. And Elon Musk is definitely not the only one saying that you should own physical things when inflation is really high. Warren Buffett also believes this same thing, and Warren Buffett is one of the wealthiest people in the world. Basically, the ideology works the exact same way. Buy companies that you believe in, or buy things that are going to continue to go up in value. That way, all of these things will always be in demand, right? I mean, when we talk about a stock and the stock market, you want to put your money behind good companies because those companies make things that you want, but not only you want them, other people want them too. And if they are a product that is always going to be in demand, well, then it doesn't matter what inflation is, because people will always need or want that particular product. And like I said, doing this over time is definitely going to benefit you more than if you just invest right now and hope to get a super huge return out of your money in 2022. Well, that's not exactly going to happen. We don't know when inflation is going to come down in our economy. We don't know when this inflation problem is going to go away. More than likely, inflation in the United States is always going to be here. Because we work on a paper money system, well, that means that the United States federal government and the Federal Reserve can simply print as much money as they want. This is what Elon Musk believes is the true cause of inflation in our economy today. You see, back when the pandemic started almost 2 years ago, the Federal Reserve had to react. They had to do something to stimulate our economy. Same with the federal government. So when people were out of work and there wasn't a whole lot of money circulating in our economy, they decided that they were going to print trillions of dollars in stimulus and trillions of dollars for the New York Stock Exchange to essentially bail it out, to get a whole lot of money moving around all at once. In addition, the Federal Reserve instituted easy money policies. So now you could get a super low interest rate on pretty much any loan under the sun. So what did people do? They went out and spent money. They continued to spend money that really didn't exist before, and now we have super high inflation. As the United States federal government prints more money, well, the value of all of the dollars in circulation suddenly goes way down. The buying power starts to decrease, and you need a whole lot more money to buy all of the same things. That's what many Americans are feeling the pressure of right now, and it's why Elon Musk believes that you need to own physical things that are going to continue to gain value over time and consistently beat inflation. Now, here's exactly why all of this is really important, because you're probably watching this video and thinking, well, eventually inflation is going to go away. That's what the federal government says, and that's what the Federal Reserve says too. And if you look throughout history, we have never had inflation that has gone on for a super long time in the United States or abroad. But things are a little bit more complicated in 2022 for a lot of different reasons. For one, I talked a lot about the Federal Reserve printing money, but they didn't just print some money, they printed just about all of it over the last 2 years. Yes, you heard that right. The Federal Reserve has gone from around $3 trillion that they had in circulation in about 2020 to over $20 trillion by the end of 2021. That means that around 80% of all of the money in circulation was printed over the last 2 years. So all of that money is out there, and all of that money is going to be causing problems for a very long time. We have never seen this amount of low interest rates and money printing from the Federal Reserve before, so it's going to be really difficult for them to get a handle on inflation, which means this inflation problem is most likely not going anywhere anytime soon. And that means you need to be more protected against it because it's going to be much higher than it has before. This is a really unique time to do so because the stock market and the real estate market are essentially resetting all throughout the United States. They hit record highs back in 2021. This was because of money printing and stimulus and low interest rates, but now in 2022, they have basically erased all of the gains that they've gotten over the last 2 years. So basically where the stock market was at back in 2020, well, it is right back there. It has erased all of its gains. So that creates an opportunity for brand new investors to come into the stock market and the real estate market and grab up some of these really good assets from good companies that make good products at a discount. You can now start to beat inflation at a much cheaper level than you could before. While everything else is getting more expensive in our economy, the stock market is actually coming way down. All of those assets are going on sale instead of the price of them going up. Meaning the next time we have inflationary problems and the next time our economy is in near recession territory, well, all you need to do is hold on to those assets because they might go down in the short term, but eventually they're going to go right back up. And by the time the inflation problem is over, you are going to be the one holding the money bag. And this is exactly what Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and all of your massive billionaires and CEOs and financial experts do all throughout the world. They don't just have a job and a salary. No, they own things. They have become the owner in things because those things continue to gain in value, and your job just simply isn't going to pay you enough in order for you to consistently beat inflation. Every so often, many people will see a 1 to 3% raise at their job. Now, don't get me wrong, that is a great thing, but that is usually what inflation is every single year. The Federal Reserve believes that healthy inflation is around 1 to 3%. So your job is only giving you a raise to meet inflation. As everything goes up in our economy, as things cost more all the time, you make just enough to get by. But that is the key here. You're making enough just to get by. You're not making enough to beat inflation and actually start building wealth. If you continue to do that, well, there is nothing wrong with that. You can absolutely live your life this way, but just know you probably won't ever have enough money to get ahead, and your job is never going to pay you more. You have a duty to yourself to try to make as much as you can. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to own things, like in the stock market and in real estate. But now I want to hear from you on this issue. What do you think about Elon Musk's secret to beating inflation in 2022? Do you think that owning things truly can beat inflation? Or do you think eventually that all of those things that you own are also going to deplete in value? Do you think that's possible for our market's future? Whatever your thoughts are, leave a comment below before you go. But that is it for today's business and financial news breakdown. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stay up to date with all the top business and financial news from around the country, our team puts together a free daily newsletter, and you can subscribe to it by clicking the link in this corner right here. And if you want to stay up to date with me and everything else happening in the business and financial world, I'm putting out updates 7 days a week over here on this channel, and I've actually got another one ready for you right here, so be sure to check that out before you go. That is it for me, everybody. Be kind out there, and I'll see you all in the next one.